going? Properties. This to... Hello? Okay, so it is capturing it. That's weird. But it's not saying it's not. Weird. Okay. Still, that's fine. Alright. While we wait for people to come on, I'm just checking some stuff. Of course, sound alerts. Oh, wait, does this page have a sound alert? Oh, that would be the reason. Let's go here. Alright, so technically on. Messing with this a little bit. Oh wow, that's really out there. Hold on. That's right, because I was using... Oh my goodness. Oh, they do work. Awesome. Thank you. Oh my gosh, 2 years. It has been 2 years already. Thank you, Fen. 24 months. Now, don't know if I want that on. I think it's a little bright, so. I know. We gotta get the headbanging from Persona 5 going. That's always great. Thank you for the resub. It means a lot. So today, because of the antics with things that are happening here, things that are happening with you, we're probably just going to go through the PS1 games today, because I have 3 binders of games, one that has each console's games on it. The PlayStation 1 shouldn't take as long, so it should be a little fun to test this out and see how it goes. And also, thank you. I was just about to test that the sound alerts were on because I had the page on the starting soon page, and I forgot I don't have the sound alerts active on that page. I need to probably move it to the others just in case somebody joins in on the when I'm on those screens. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. I have giant binder number 1 of stuff. Let's see how I have to turn this way to get to this. Now I do have a bunch of stuff here. Some of them are, and I'm making a list on the side here that's going to be like title of the game, what console it's for, should we stream it. It's about 8 to 10 pages of PlayStation games, and then the other part are some old PC games which I can't play anymore because my laptop doesn't have a CD drive. So first up, what is considered one of the worst games on the PlayStation. I have 007 Tomorrow Never Dies. This is the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation console exclusive James Bond game where they decided to go third person. I was going to say it right now. We could play the game. It would be very dangerous to stream it because there's about 45 to 50 minutes of the actual movie in the game. So it's here's the thing. I enjoyed the game because I was a huge James Bond fan when I was a kid. But now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, now that I haven't played it in years, but DMCA threat equals no. No, they literally have the opening title song, full scene in the game, and that's like 5 to 10 minutes on its own of just that scene. So I'm like, I'd love to play this again, just to like reminisce and see how bad it is now. But I know I'm gonna get hit with the MCA if I play this one. It's like trying to play it's like trying to play the Ratchet and Clank game. You have to be careful with the Ratchet and Clank game from, what was it, 2016 or 2017? The Ratchet and Clank video game that's based on the movie based on the video game. Mouthful, I know. It's a good game, but they use scenes directly from the movie in that game. So I have to be careful because I wanted to actually play that but have you be able to understand the story as well. So that one's going to be a little questionable with that. The next two games are part of the same series. I got where we are. We got way off. We got Army Men Air Attack. Yes, I know this just sounds totally like me. We got Army Men Air Attack and Army Men Sarge as Heroes. These are very playful shooting games where you play as army men. Like I was a young boy. I played with army men, the little tiny characters. So like from Toy Story, where they come to life and they like are doing like Woody's orders and everything else like that to like help set up for Andy. These games are the same kind of vein, but you're playing as actual soldiers fighting against the tan soldiers. So it's actually like when you're basing like building huge bases of the green versus the tan soldiers in your living room or outside. I had a bunch of friends that we would set up stuff outside. So it's very reminiscent of that. The thing with Sarge's Heroes is that you are like a super soldier among them, leading a ragtag group. I can't remember. I think it's Sarge, Pyro, Jazz. Jazz or Sweet? I don't remember. Jazz or Sweet is the rocket expert. Pyro, of course, is the flame guy. Hooper? Trying to remember. Yeah, that's actually a really good way to describe it. Red versus blue before red versus blue. Okay, next up we have a one of the SquareSoft classics before, like right after the merger that became SquareSoft. Because before this and was it Final Fantasy VIII was the first one to do. I actually will be able to find out in a second. But we have Chrono Cross, the sequel to what is considered one of the greatest RPGs of all time. This was the hard eyes for SquareSoft, of course. I really enjoy this game. I don't know if you've ever played it. It is a tremendous. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead onto this really quick. I already know the first one's gonna be a no. Yeah, Chrono Cross. PS1. That is. So far, every single game in here has been T. It is long, and to get the complete like the good ending, you have to play it twice so you can get every single character on your team. Because you have to play. No, wait, you have to play 3 times to get every character. Because you have a choice at the beginning between 3 characters. You can't have all 3 in one playthrough. Let's see here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put yes. We'll look into that. But I absolutely adore this game. My sister got me into it actually because we were big into RPGs. Okay. Don't really need to do this one because I could just play the remastered version on the PS4 on the PS5, just the campaign mode. I'm not doing multiplayer or the extra stuff because that game kind of went downhill. But I do have the actual disc for the classic CTR. I absolutely adore this racing game. I think it. Call me a blasphemous for saying this, but I thought CTR was better than Mario Kart in a lot of ways. Just hands down. No, I can agree with that. My favorite racing game is on the PS2, though. I would love to pull that out eventually. It was the era of the extreme sports titles. I have Dave Mirra's BMX before they went off the rail and tried to do a bicycle porn game. I'm not joking, if anybody remembers that. But we have Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX. This was a who was this? Acclaim. This was Acclaim's counter to Neversoft doing the Tony Hawk series. It's not bad, but you can definitely see it's just like a clone or the trying to ride the coattails of Tony Hawk, so to speak. A guilty pleasure for mine. It is considered one of the worst RPGs of all time, but I adore this game just because I love monster collecting and monster builders. We have Digimon World, and actually I have And actually, I have all 3 of the Digimon World games for the PlayStation. Um, I never played 3. I own it, but I've never really played 3. From what I can tell, Digimon World 3 plays a lot like Pokemon, whereas the other 2 are more... I can agree with that. Digimon World is... I look at it back at it now and I realize how bad the gameplay was, but it was the fact of what you were doing in the game that kind of allured me to it, because I think I still have the strategy guide. You have the rookie monsters, or whatever the base level monsters are, and you can progress them into the monsters that you want, but you have 3 different aspects that you can level them up. That's by their stats, by their hunger, or by their delinquency action. So like, did they go hungry? Did they go hungry? Did they go to the bathroom where they weren't supposed to? And I'm the shit you not that, and I shit you not, that's actually part of it. Like, you had to take care of... It's a 3D version of the Tamagotchi Digimon. You actually have to feed them. You have to take care of them. You have to praise them when they do something good, or scold them when they do something bad. Or if you're trying to get one of the worst monsters in the game that becomes one of the best monsters in the game, you have to try and get everything to 0, which is very difficult to do. Digimon World 2 plays like a dungeon crawl. Actually, it's very reminiscent after playing games. Digimon World 2 is very reminiscent to Shin Megami Tensei. You can go through and collect monsters by giving gifts, or talking them into joining your team. There's a fusion aspect, so I don't remember what came first between Shin Megami Tensei or Digimon World 2, but there's a very, very big correlation between how those 2 games connect. So I definitely think one of them was inspired by the other one. Most likely, I'm going to say Digimon was inspired by Shin Megami Tensei, because the games are very reminiscent to each other, to a point that one is definitely a blatant ripoff. But it is what it is. Next up, a game I really feel needs to get the Resident Evil 2 remake, the current Resident Evil remake formula going. I have Dino Crisis. Can you imagine this with updated graphics, audio, everything else? So everything that made Resident Evil 2 remake a masterpiece, but put it with dinosaurs. Could you imagine that? I will play the original of these if we decide that yes, we want to do this. But could you imagine an RE2 remake version style of Dino Crisis? At least the first one. What was the other day? He hated the... Well, that's the thing. Like, a lot of those puzzles back in the PlayStation 1 era were very generic, very obtuse. Like, playing Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2 with some of those puzzles, you're like, what am I doing? Like, honestly, what am I doing? One cup is not open. And then, just to complete it, I do have Dino Crisis 2. This one is more action-based, so you have 2 characters to play as. There's like a checkpoint system where you can go in and buy ammo. You get money for defeating the dinosaurs or enemies, so you can... It's kind of... If I'm going to compare it, it's kind of like... Dino Crisis is like Resident Evil 1 through 4. Yep, or you had to figure it out on your own, or you're stuck, or you had to buy a strategy guide. So you actually had to pay for the books. Granted, I love strategy guides. Like I have, like, Hyphen will verify just by looking at our table. I have about 20 to 30 strategy guides of games I enjoy. But like, there was no internet to look up things. If you wanted help, you either had to buy a strategy guide, or you had to look up. You had to call. I think there was like a phone service you could call to help with strategy guides and stuff like that, but that was neither here nor there. Let me just check this really quick. Am I on the right page? Making sure everything's up to date here. Yeah, looks like we're up to date. Okay, cool. I'll go back here. That's over there. Oh yeah, well done. I'm just gonna go off on a tangent. The worst strategy guide I own, and if you own it, you'll know the reason why, is for Final Fantasy IX, because it's a strategy guide that was like meant to be correlate to a. This was like the dawn of the internet. It was like, I think it was the first strategy guide that was also incorporating a website. But it's like, you bought the strategy guide, but here's the stuff that's not mentioned in the strategy guide. You have to go to the web. Oops, sorry, hon. You have to go to the website to then correlate the. But it was like, here's a strategy guide that you paid for and everything else. That's going to give you the strategies that you need. Oh, by the way, in order to get the full strategy, you had to go to the website as well. I think it was like Play Online or something. It was like Final Fantasy's attempt to like collaborate some other stuff together. Let me get back to where I was because I went on a tangent. Going off of the games that we also talked to, I have Final Fantasy Chronicles with Chrono Trigger. So one of what is considered one of the best games of all time. I've never played this all the way through. I keep getting stuck. But that would also be something. I have Chrono Trigger. I have Final Fantasy IV, which in America this was Final Fantasy II, I believe. Yep, it does have the anime cutscenes. Same with the Final Fantasy IV from the Chronicle version has 3D cutscenes for it. The next games I'm going to skip over. I'll just gloss over them really quickly, just because I do have access to these to stream, so they're not going to be as much of an issue. But I have Final Fantasy VII. I actually still have my disc forms. I have Final Fantasy VII, I have Final Fantasy VIII, and I have Final Fantasy IX in here. I do kind of want to do a whole series of just trying to do Final Fantasy games at one point, so I'm not really even worried about, like, do we want to do this or not, because I want to do them. But I'm going through the games that I'm like, what do people think about this, and everything like that, so. Also, to clarify, just wanted to clarify, what games are you on board with besides Chrono Cross? Because I kind of was just like flying through some of these games. We had the Army Men games, we had the Digimon games, we had Dino Crisis. What games were you most interested in just from a quick glance? While you're thinking on that, I'll go ahead and continue. One of my favorite Squaresoft games was not a Final Fantasy or from the PlayStation 1 was not a Final Fantasy game. Digimon Dino Crisis Army Men. Okay. And then Chrono Cross being probably towards the top as well for the current games. Okay. I am intrigued by that. One of my favorite games, and the original way I played it was on a demo disc that was on a game that I have coming up at the end. I have a demo disc with it had a demo disc with it that had a bunch of different games on it. But this was one of my favorite games on the PlayStation. It's called Front Mission 3. It is a isometric strategy game in the same veins of Final Fantasy Tactics, but you fight in giant robots, and you can gain abilities. You can put new parts on, so you can have mobility, or you can have like straight defense. But what intrigued me the most about the game, and this is why I love this so much, this is technically two entire games in one. There's a choice at the very beginning of the game where you can choose to assist somebody and they go and you help them on a mission, or you choose to stay back and take care of stuff at your office. Depending on what you do, you have two completely different directions that you go in the game. One direction, you have this one group help you and do the enemy, and you have the enemies that try to stop you. If you take the other route, it's kind of a mirror world where everyone who was helping you in the first playthrough is now your enemy and vice versa. So I thought that was very intriguing because this now makes this game, at least for a full like understanding of the story, it's about 60 to 80 hours long for a strategy game, which I absolutely adore. Things that you, from a programming standpoint, it's genius because it's literally like, here's this, you're going to do this, and we can just do this, and it's two different programming elements, and it only has to read one, which means your program does not have to run everything at once. It's like genius. Um, a very silly game. I borrowed this from Blockbuster and almost beat it, and I just can't have not played it again since I bought it. I have Jackie Chan Stuntmaster. This is a side-scrolling, story-based beat-em-up, kind of in the same vein of Fighting Force or something like that, but you play as Jackie Chan, and I find it fun. It shouldn't have any issues with copyright because it's an original story. It's not based on anything. The character likenesses are just enough where you can tell. I mean, they're blocky characters, so it's not like they're going to be realistic or anything. Another game that I have access to on the PlayStation 4, but this was one of my favorite RPGs. I actually, back on the PlayStation 1, I 100%ed it. I have Legend of Dragoon. This is one of my favorite video games, one of my favorite video game stories. One of my well, sad, weird saying. One of my favorite sad moments in a video game is in this one. But I adore, yep. But I adore this game. I agree. I need to do it eventually as well. So I'm probably going to make some lists about like what we would want to see with some retro stuff. I would have to pull out my PlayStation 3 probably because I don't know if I have an actual physical memory card for the PlayStation 1 anymore. I know I have a PlayStation 2 memory card, but I don't know if I have a PlayStation 1 anymore. Next up, the quintessential World War II games before all the bullshit happened. I have Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor Underground. These were two amazing first-person shooters back from the early PlayStation 1 era. Granted, their controls are a little finicky now because they were made for before the analog sticks were, so there's a lot of... you have to turn with... I think you have to turn with one of the shoulder... with a pair of the shoulder buttons instead of using an analog stick. But, we'll look into that, but because I have other games that I'm meaning to play, and if we decide to, for some of these games, they'll come after we do like some Final Fantasy or Legend of Dragoon or some of these other games that I have remakes of for on the PlayStation 5, because I can easily move those. That is true. Typing is hard. Words are hard. It's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of these games I would want to play, and I could easily play them on the PS3. My PS3 is backwards compatible with the PlayStation 1, but not the PlayStation 2 games. So I do have my PlayStation 2 on a shelf back here somewhere, but we'll figure that out. A game I've actually never played, but I played the sequels. I have Metal Gear Solid. I've never played the original one, but I have the classic one. Where's your herd? One of my favorites. Next up, we have one of my favorite game series of all time. Underrated game series, in my opinion. If you've played this, awesome. If not, I would highly recommend giving it a try. It's one of the best concepts in a video game, and one of the coolest concepts in a video game. We have Monster Rancher. I've never played the original, but Monster Rancher 2 was where I started, and it's one of the games I absolutely adore. If you have not played it, it is one of the coolest concepts for a monster collecting game. And I hope you're just as big of a nerd as me and have heard of this game or anime. But this is one of the coolest monster collecting games because this is one of the coolest monster collecting games because all your monsters, they just go. It's like Resident Evil 1, Disc 2. This has a monster in it. Resident Evil 2, this too. This has a different monster in it. So your game collection, your music collection, um, when we get to the ones that are on the PlayStation, uh, yeah, the PlayStation 2 was DVD. So your PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 2 versions of the Monster Rancher game can also play DVDs on top of the CDs and other games. So you collect monsters by going to shrines and using a monster disc to pull a monster out, and the monster is in your actual disc collection. So it's one of the coolest concepts I've seen. It has one of the better um, monster progressions because you have to train up the monsters um, and do like you train up your health, you train up your attack power, you train up your evasion skills and stuff like that. But other than that, it's not as strong of a story in 2 and 3. The story is more focused in the fourth one, which we'll get into in the next stream for this. But I this is what I consider one of the if you love monster collecting games, so Pokemon, Temtem, Jade Cocoon, or anything like that. I need to get that game, by the way. I do not own that game. This is one of the best monster collecting games I've ever played, just because of the concept of you don't have to scout out a monster in the game world. You have the monsters in your own collection, and then you can take. I froze. Hold on. Okay, you can take monsters that you have, and you can take them to another location, and you can actually fuse them together and make new monsters based off the characteristics. I was going to say categoristics, but I was like, that's not a word. The characteristics of the two monsters. So, like, if one is like an ice dragon, and then this is like a fire dog, you might get an ice dog. You might get a fire dragon. You might get a dragon dog. But like, there's so many different aspects of the game that makes you drive and get more and more. But it's one of my favorite game series, and I wish they would make another one. I think the last one was on the PlayStation 3 and didn't sell very well, and Tecmo is busy doing other things, so I don't highly doubt they're ever going to come back to it. And I pulled it up, but I already have the. No, let's just see. I have in the original discs. I have Resident Evil 2. And I have Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original ones for the PlayStation. I don't know if I want to go back. Well, I heard the original Nemesis is better. I heard the original Resident Evil Nemesis is better than the remake. Because there's a lot more choices, there's a lot more store branching paths that you can take and everything, whereas the new one is just a very straightforward story. But I haven't played either of them, so I don't know. I never played the original Resident Evil 2 before I played the remake as well. So I have the original versions of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. Never had. Actually, no, I did own the director's cut of Resident Evil 1. It just didn't work. Yeah, that's me. I never finished this game. It's a traditional. I have Sim Theme Park, which is an amusement park building game. So like Thrillville or Theme Park Tycoon or whatever, Amusement Park Tycoon. I can't remember, but it's okay. I mean, it's a sim game. So that was back when it was Bullfrog and what was it, Maxis, I think, did it. But it is what it is. What I consider one of the essential superhero games until like the PS3 era. I have the original Spider-Man game. I have the original Spider-Man game and its sequel. I loved these games when I was a kid. I could probably play them on a higher difficulty now. But Spoodermans, but like, if these weren't made, I highly doubt things like Batman. I personally believe if stuff like this wasn't made and made this well for their era, we wouldn't have things like the Batman Arkham Asylum games, the new Spider-Man games, all these great superhero games, because before the Spider-Man game, besides beat-em-ups, there were no good superhero games before the Spider-Man game. So as I said, besides from side-scrolling beat-em-ups and everything, because that's what those games were entailing at that time. This was the first story-driven, I walk around and beat up enemy game as a superhero that I felt was correct. And I played the shit out of these games when I was young. I think the only suits in the original one that I never got was because I wasn't a good enough player. I didn't play on the hard difficulties. So next up, this one's interesting because they actually just remastered it on the PS5. We have Star Wars Dark Forces. I am not entitled to even make a comment on that comment, so I have Star Wars Dark Forces. So this is the original first-person shooter Star Wars game that was created originally for the PC. I have it for the PlayStation. I think it runs better on the PlayStation than it does on the PC. It's the story of Kyle Katarn as he steals the Death Star plans and then has to survive long enough to showcase everything that's going on to everyone. Superman 64 is considered one of the top 10 worst games of all time, and that's putting it up there with like E.T., Ride to Hell. I don't even think the games that came out last year that were atrocious even come close to some of those games. What was the Room in the Night Sky or something for the Switch that was really just a the remake was just released, I think, on the PlayStation and on Steam. Updated graphics, updated cutscenes. I think the gameplay might still be similar, so it might still be a little rough to play. It's a Doom, like an original Doom clone. So if an enemy is above you, you don't have to aim up. You just aim towards it, and the gun will slowly aim towards it on its own. But to be quite honest, I prefer between the Dark Forces games. And I haven't played the second Jedi Knight game, so I can't say that. But between the Dark Forces game, I like the sequel, which is Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, which does the story of Kyle Katarn discovering he has he's from a Jedi bloodline, and you have to go through the game and choose to either be a light or a dark Jedi and fight a rogue Jedi/Sith who's trying to find the Valley of the Jedi and corrupt it. Now we're getting back to the classic Episode 1 games. I have literally the Star Wars Episode 1 movie tie-in game, which, yes, it might be atrocious, but I still loved it. I was not great at it, but, I mean, who was? And then the other one, which, same vein, Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, which was more of an arcadey action-style game. I'm a Star Wars fan. It is what it is. I played, Episode 1. I think every kid had it at one point, either on like PlayStation or PC or whatever you were playing it on. It was just one of those games. I thought they were well done. Of course, I was a kid. Now I can kind of see how blocky and like how bad the level design is. But it is, to its credit, it was 90. What did you on here? It does not have. It's either in very fine print or it's not even on here. So feel around the same time. Nope, they do not have the 2000 2001 for the Episode 1 games. But oh boy. Sorry. My disc case got stuck on the actual laptop. This is a Star Wars game that it's not great, but it's not terrible as well. It's Rebel Assault. This was one of the first 3D. So, the door is open. Let's go. I remember that. And if you just stay in the first room, you just die, which is I find hilarious. You can choose to not leave the poison gas. This one, the Rebel Assault was actually, is this Rebel Assault 2? No, Rebel Assault. This was one of the first PC games for Star Wars to use the motion capture and live. Yeah, it's not, but as gamers now, you'll look back there and be like, oh, this may not have been the best game of all time like we thought. And some of those levels are just maddening, like where you have to fly out of the tunnels with the ship, and it has like the. Actually, I just realized they stole that for the Harry Potter game with the the Green Guts, where you have to flip the bank car and the thing. That's directly trying to get your ship out of that tunnel. Quintessential. And actually, I have a way to play this. Nostalgia glasses, bro. Nostalgia glasses. I have the original version of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but I do have the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD remaster, so I'll probably stick with that if we decide to do something with that. But uh, this was the game that started all these like high-profile extreme sports. This is what brought extreme sports to everyone's living room. I just noticed I don't have a pair of games because I lent them to my brother and he never gave them back. I hope he has the copy still, but I'll have to get back with him with that because I actually own the original Parasite Eve, both Parasite Eve 1 and 2. I'll have to get back to him and see if he still has them. If not, I'll have to find another copy. This game reminded me because it's the same gameplay, but Vagrant Story. I've done one episode of this on my YouTube channel back a long time ago. This is actually a very cool game concept. Like like magic, dragons, monsters. Your character named Ashley Riot. Oh, you love Vagrant Story. Okay, good. I don't have to explain things. I don't have to explain things as much. Alright, and then this is the demo disc that I was explaining. So I don't have everything on here. So preview movie, interactive. But the last one, and I realize now how bad it is because you can't actually do anything from the actual game. I have Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, which all this game is fuse the strongest monster on the field and don't lose it. That is the whole concept of this game, which I played for hours just trying to grind to get certain cards and everything. That is so hard. But we were going in alphabetical order. That is the last one. The only other game that I have in here I can't play anymore because it was a Dragon Ball Z game from it was a foreign imported game. I actually had to mod my PlayStation 1 to play it, so it's not going to work on the current consoles because of the localization stuff, which is kind of bullshit. But that is all my games. So we're going to quickly just go through and make a little list on the side. And I know some of them we were in agreement. So 007. Oops. I can type. I swear I can type. Mirror. See? I'm having trouble typing. Tomorrow Never Dies. PS1. Rating T. Can we stream? Yeah, I heard about that too. It's really sad especially for... He was the creator that helped get people get into anime. So much love and respect to the family and everything that they brought. So, was going through. So, an agreement. 007 Tomorrow Never Dies cannot stream because of the cutscenes and everything. So, no. Army Men. Air Attack PS1. PS1 team. 007 equals no. So Army Men Air Attack and Army Men Sarge as heroes. Are we on board with that for a possible future stream? No, that is absolutely horrible. I wrote Sarge's herpes. That is not going to be great on there. Army Men sure? Okay, so I'll say potential. Okay. Chrono Cross is a definite yes. CTR we could do with the Crash Team Racing Evolved or Nitro or whatever it is. Dave Mira Extreme... No, Freestyle BMX. So now that we've talked about them, we're just going to go ahead and make a quick note on everything. Chrono Cross and Trigger, definite yes. Excellent. Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX. I'm leaning from potential to no, because I don't think it's as good as like a Tony Hawk game. And even Tony Hawk, I feel, might be a little boring with the old standards to go through. I mean, the music in the original Tony Hawk is amazing, which also might be a problem because I might get copyright. I just thought about that. I might get copyright hit by the music that they use in those games. I'm going to lean towards no, actually, now that I think about it, because that's all copyrighted music in those games. So, agreement on no for Dave Mirra. Not big on sport games. I can play them for fun. You were... And copyright concerns equals no. 2... Three. All right. Copyright, and exactly. Copyright concerns equals no. I just thought about that. That's all copyrighted music in both the Dave Mirra and the Tony Hawk games, so both of those will be potentially out. Digimon World games, was there one above the others that you were interested in? Because Digimon World is the one I played the most. I would probably still need a strategy guide for some of the aspects. I don't know much about Digimon World 2 or 3. So, do you have one that's a potential over the others? Or do you just say yes to all three? Consider the best. Okay, so I'm just going to say yes, and then I'm going to say potential for these two. Dino Crisis 1 and 2. These are... Yeah, these are both mature. Okay, I have a feeling the original Dino Crisis is definitely a yes. How do you feel about Dino Crisis 2? Because that's more of an action-based one. Then I will leave this one on, but the others I'll leave off because I do want to do a stream of those. On the fence for the Dino Crisis, pick... Okay, so I'm going to say yes to the first one because that is the one of the quintessential like horror-style games, because that's literally Resident Evil with dinosaurs. The other one I'll say potential, and we'll see how we feel about it once we are able to possibly play. Play something like the Dino Crisis games, and we'll see how we feel about trying the second one. So then, the Final Fantasy games, besides 4, I'm going to skip, because I don't have Final Fantasy 4 on the PlayStation, but I do have access to 7, 8, and 9 on the PlayStation 5. I actually have 7 downloaded now in case I wanted to just do a random stream of it, but that one is not going on, so... Mission 3... One that is team. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, but I'll give a little... If you are interested in Front Mission 3, the tactical game with the war mechs, let me just say yay. And I'm already putting it as yes, but if you say yes, I'll say a double yes on this one. Team. No. We'll start putting the titles in, then... I'll go ahead and... Okay, so I'll say yes and potential. Because that's one of my favorite games, but I don't want to put it on just because. I mean, yes, you guys like to see me happy, but I also want to see what intrigues you guys the most. So, like, I know Chrono Cross is definitely up there for the two Chrono games are definitely up there for wanting to play them. You're interested in what my favorite Digimon game is out of the three, and I would love to play more of them because I haven't played the others. But like, I have a bunch of them I'm saying potential on here, so we'll look into those. We have the Jackie Chan beat 'em up game. If you say yay or nay on that, but we'll look into that. So I'll, also on my current where I am right now, I have the Jackie Chan game, Legend of Dragoon, and Medal of Honor Underground. This one I actually beat a long time ago. I had a strategy guide with it though. I had a magazine strategy guide. Pass on Jackie Chan. All right, I'll just go ahead and say no / potential because I may want to play it later, but for now that's definitely in the no potential. Dave Mirror BMX and the 007 are definite no's because of the copyright stuff. Legend of Dragoon is on my list. You're also teen. Oh, can I have type please? Metal Gear Solid is mature. Oh boy, that's wrong. Death, yes, on Legend of Dragoon. Okay, yes. Medal of Honor games, the quintessential World War II series. I know, but I like your opinion. I love hearing from you and everything else like that. Medal of Honor games, quintessential PlayStation 1 World War II shooters. They actually started the craze because I believe both Battlefield and Call of Duty were originally members who worked on Medal of Honor who branched out into their own company. So these two games actually made the whole situation and the battle between the Battlefield series and the Call of Duty series. Okay, so I'll say potential and yes. So that goes for those two. I'll say potential / yes. So it's the opposite. Yes. Potential / where's my slash? I'm blind! Where the fuck is my slash? There it is. I was like, Metal Gear Solid, the original. Smash 2. Is that a teen or no? That's an E game. Wow, not a lot of those. I thought I had more of those. We can skip those on the list. Unless you want to see me play the original Resident Evil, like the original version of RE2 and RE3. Potential no. Okay. Monster Rancher 2, the one where you actually already have the monsters in your collection. You just have to find out. RE equals nah. Okay, so I'll say Resident Evil 2 Classic. Say no. Then Resident Evil 3 Classic PS1 M1. I can type. No, Monster Rancher is an emphatic yes from you. Sim Theme Park. Where you run your own theme park, but with very blocky characters, if I remember correctly. That's definitely an E game. I'll get that. Spider-Man. Sim Theme Park. God damn it. No. Okay. I'm absolutely fine with this list. Like, and just to put it out there, the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 ones are going to take longer because this was 23 titles. This is so far 23 titles, and I think I have like 300 PlayStation 2 games. So that's going to be like a 2 to 3 hour stream going through those. That's why I wanted to try this one out and see how we felt about this, because I'm actually having a blast doing this, and like getting ideas for things that I want to do in the future is awesome. But it's gonna take forever. Yes. That was an emphatic yes. So both Spider-Man games, I'll say yes. Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. I had to go. I will actually get a count of the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 games, and I'll send you the count on Discord. Enter Electro. Eclectro. I can type. Does Electro have a C? No, it has a C. Okay. Enter Electro. This one, also E. So yes. Star Wars. Star Wars Dark Forces. PS1. That is a teen. So we have all the Star Wars games. We have Dark Forces, Jedi Power Battles. Apparently not. So I'm off by like one. So then we have. Oops. Cancel. Oh. Don't you save automatically anyway? Oh no, I have autosave off. Autosave can go on. No, that's fine. We'll just go ahead and save. Real quick. Save as. No. PS1 game list for streams. Alright, so yeah, we are automatically saving your changes for you. Got it. Thank you. Okay, so I just realized I hadn't saved at all with this. So we got Star Wars Dark Forces, Jedi Power Battles, the Episode 1 game, and Rebel Assault. Any of those pique your interest for possible streams? Or all. You can also just say all. All yes, all no, or if there's one specific ones that you're more interested in. Oh. Yes. All Star Wars, yes. Okay. Let's see, Star Wars Episode 1. I'll know what it means. And Star Wars Rebel. I keep forgetting I have more than one thing for yes now. Alright, we were already discussing this. Tony Hawk. Pro Skater is an emphatic no. As much as I love the game, it's an emphatic no because of copyright. Okay, so we got two more. Vagrant Story. A teen? It's teen. So we got Vagrant Story and the Yu-Gi-Oh game. I can type Yu-Go. Yu-Gi. Oh my god, I cannot type. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. And the last one for today is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Spin-off. So this is an emphatic yes. Ooh, I have some ideas for... Maybe it's not enough fun. There's some better Yu-Gi-Oh games. So I'm gonna put it out there, but it may be something to go through and actually kind of like dive into, because I've seen some people stream it, and it did pretty well. I mean, once again, I shouldn't be chasing numbers, but I did see. Granted, they were also speedrunning the game, so I think people are more interested in the speedrun. I'll say potential, just straight up, but I'm not gonna say yay or nay to that. But that is just this, 55 minutes of chatting and writing them down, typing them up and everything. Those are just my PlayStation 1 games that I own. I do want to go back and do a little reminiscing because we're talking about like the games that we enjoyed. I did own more games back when I was a kid, and I sold them because when I upgraded to the PlayStation 2, I wasn't thinking, or I let someone borrow them, I can't remember. But I also really loved fighting games. Back on the original PlayStation 1, I had Tekken 3 and I had Bloody Roar. Two of the, my opinion, Tekken is always going to be hand down one of my favorite fighting games. I also love Soul Calibur. But Bloody Roar, I think, was one of the most underrated fighting games of all time. And I own the second one, I think. And I just, like... I actually own another one on the PS2. We'll get to that when I do that list. But, these are all the PlayStation 1 games. And we have a good series of games here. Let's go ahead and sort. So, out of the list... We have 1, 2, 3. Let me just make sure. 3, 4, 5. We have only 6 games out of this list that are a definite no. We have a handful that are potential. There are. Let's see, there's only 1, 2. There's 6 that are definite no's. A few that are no but potential series if I feel like it. And then a handful that are like that in-between phase of yes we'll do it, no we won't. Guaranteed for the future, and I'll have to make these in a list on the Discord. Definite yes are Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger. We'll flip those actually and play the way we play them because you need to play Chrono Trigger first for the story. Digimon World, Dino Crisis, Legend of Dragoon. I have access to that on the PlayStation, so we could actually stream that soon if we wanted to. Monster Rancher 2, the Spider-Man PlayStation 1 games, which I think are excellent. 4 Star Wars games and Vagrant Story. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So out of 31 games on this list, 13 of them are definite yes, we would like to see them. And I'm for that. So the games that we said no to, I completely understand why we said no. I actually brought them up. You were the one that was like slapping the hand, do not even try it, which I agree with. So any games like those, we have to definitely be careful with. I know people stream the Tony Hawk games on the new modern one. So I just wonder how people get around with the DMCA with those, because if it's a full song, unless they don't care about their audio being cut through the entire VOD, because that's the only thing I could think of happening, is if you don't care about your VOD being cut or an entire stream. But I feel like if you had that long. That is very true. I would have to look it up. I do own it, so I would have to look it up. But, Fen, I really hope you enjoyed this walk down memory lane for the PlayStation 1. I'll get back to you, as I said, with the counts for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 games, because we might have to plan for a longer time frame. But this was fun, and understanding... That's true. Let me guess, you enjoyed watching me geek out and, like, pretty much do a visible version of this when I was speaking of certain games. There's going to be more of that with the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 games. And I really do appreciate it, Fen. It's like, to stick with me for 2 years on this channel, that means so much to me. That is also true. I was actually very surprised. It's like I know, like, some of them are not as uncommon as I think, but to have someone, like, say, like, oh, I love Vagrant Story, it's like, in my head, it's like, how many people know what Vagrant Story is? Or it popped up on Twitter the other day, someone was like, these are the 4 best PlayStation 1 games of all time, and he had Monster Rancher in that list, and I was like, somebody else knows about it! Also, if you ever get a chance, Monster Rancher is a great anime as well. There is an anime for that game, and it is, in my opinion, it is wonderful. Kind of like Naruto-ish before Naruto. But it is what it is. Um, just want to see something really quick. Yeah, no, you're one of my staples. I appreciate that. Huh, since I have 2 here, it says I only have 1 here. Huh, one of you are lying. It's fine. But, Fen, thank you for joining me for today. I'll look into how many I have in the others, because I know it's a lot. It's literally like one full... Like how I said this was like only like a third to a half, not even that, of the city wallet. Um, the other is almost a full. The other 2 are almost full CD wallets of games. So we'll have to make like an afternoon completely to do those. I was thinking like maybe we can just run through and do all of them here, and it's just like, eh, eh. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. I may decide to play something back on the PlayStation for a little bit because it's only 3:30, so I might drop in and play something. I know you have some errands to run, so I greatly appreciate you dropping in on top of everything else you have to do. And we'll figure out when to do uh, the next stream for this because it's gonna take a while. Uh, I'm not. I wanted. This was way more fun than I thought. Just going through and talking about this because it's kind of funny. You have all these memories in all of these games, and you don't think about them until you actually just look at the disc. But yeah, 300 games is going to take some time because we only did 30, and it's about an hour. So we're looking at 10 times. So we'll probably have to break it up into like 3 or 4 streams just for the PlayStation 2 and then for the PlayStation 3 games. But there's so many memories with these types of games that you kind of take for granted once you start getting older. And I mean, like, yeah, these have been sitting in this binder on a shelf for years now because I don't want to get rid of them. I'm a pack rat gamer, and I always feel like as soon as I get rid of a game, I'm going to want to play it. That's always been my fascination and my ideas for these. But honestly, it was kind of fun just thinking about these and going through these games in my head again and being like, I could do these. Some of these I could do in my... Like, Final Fantasy VIII, I know I'm like... I didn't even put Final Fantasy games on here besides Final Fantasy IV because I want to do a stream of Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. 8 specifically, I could probably play that game in my sleep and not need a strategy guide for about 90% of it. The only thing I would need help with would probably be the card game, so like 100% the card game. But other than that, like I can play 8. I can get every summon in the game. I can get every boss figured out. I can beat the hardest boss in the game. I've done it twice in that one. I need to work on 7 because I never even made it to the 3rd disc in 7. I've beaten 9 once, but I never beat the final boss in that, the hardest boss in 9. But I want to. There's games that as a child I beat, but never finished fully, or they were too hard for me as a kid and I didn't know what I was doing. So I do feel like I need to go back and play some of these games just to, like, as a gamer, complete that arc of my life, so to speak. So I'm excited to bring some of these out. I'm gonna have to drag my console from the back that I'm using as a white noise or like TV expansion in the back and actually bring it out here to play. But that's not an issue. I want to do... After doing these, I want to do this. So I know I'm rambling, but it is what it is. Thank you for making this a lot of fun, Fen. Hopefully next time we can get a few more people in and we can all chat about the good old days with some of these games. But it is what it is. So thank you, Fen. Love you. And I hope to see you later. I'm going to discuss with Hyphen to see if she's feeling up to doing a Wifefoot weekend. If she's not, it'll be something else tonight as well. But I wanted to give this a test run. It's very, very fun for me to do this. So stay tuned. Have a great day. Go pick up your kid. And I'll see you next time, alright? So have a great day, Fen.